Welcome to Channel 6 Midnight News. This is your boy Ryan.
Hey, and this is Eric Crosby.
And in our featured story tonight, something we've talked about a little earlier on the show, we speculated about, I didn't know a lot about it, but now I do because I've researched it. It is what is going on with Neca's TMNT Loot Crate figures. Will they ever actually happen? Okay.
Yeah.
And Jay Cochran from Toy News International on toynewseye.com asked this very question in an article he published yesterday, and it is very complicated. But now I know, and now you all are going to know. You know what I'm saying? So to catch everyone up on what's going on with the Loot Crate thing, if you haven't really known, in early 2021, Loot Crate offered 4 NECA TMNT themed crates. Okay. And we're just going to run through them really fast and just try to tell you what they all had. So Crate 1, and they were all themed. So Crate 1 was movie themed, and it featured Danny Carrington, Dan now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might call him Dan. Crate 2 was arcade game themed and had Armagon as the figure. Now, that's the one that I ordered. I got skin in this game too. I'm gonna say maybe I'm not that objective. You know what I'm saying? In my reporting. Because where's Armagon? Where is he? Crate 3 was comic book themed and featured an exclusive Mutant Shredder figure from Mirage from Return to New York. And then Crate 4 was cartoon themed and had Donatello the Dark Turtle. And if you ordered all of them, you also got Scrag from the cartoon as well. And of course, there was a lot of other Loot Crate kind of stuff, t-shirts and little crap packed in. But for the toy community, it was really about the figures, like what's going on. So they were initially supposed to ship out in August, September, October, and November of 2021, respectively. So Crate 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, August through November, one out a month. But that never happened. Now, COVID-related shipping stuff definitely took its toll. And I think everyone was understanding of that to a degree. But to date, only Crate 1, the one that had Dan, he's Dan now, Dan Carrington, was ever shipped out to people. And that got shipped out in November of 2021, right? So that was 3 months later than it was initially advertised. However, as of now, Crate 2 is 8 months late. And the other ones, just 9, respectively 7 and 6 months late of getting delivered. And the most recent update on this, that's at least forward-facing from Loot Crate itself, is that it has a shipping schedule that they publish online. And it states that Crates 2 and 3 are now shipping in April or May. This is an update from when Jay Cochran initially wrote the article yesterday. It had not been updated. He reported that it was that they were set to ship in March. So just in between the time that Jay researched this and I did my own research, the shipping window has shifted back 1 or 2 months already. And that's when we get into the complicated part of all this, is the messy history of NECA and Loot Crate, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and that's kind of was the thrust of the reporting that Jay did. It was looking into, well, then how are there scenarios where maybe we don't get them? So just to explain, in 2019, Loot Crate Acquisition LLC, the original Loot Crate company that formed way back then and had massive success, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, owing $6 million in sales tax and another $58 million in debt to vendors. That's huge. Joel Weinshanker, most notably known as a principal owner of NECA, bought Loot Crate Acquisition and formed the Loot Company, which is the current company doing business as Loot Crate. Okay, this all happened back in 2019. So just to review, they were obviously in awful debt. From mismanagement or something. 58 million in debt is it's that those debt numbers aren't wild for a company that's shipping a lot of stuff, but 58 million is a ton of money. And so you have Joel Weinshanker enters the picture, and now ever since 2019, Loot Crate and NECA have been really close, even though they're two separate businesses. Having Weinshanker between them effectively made a much closer relationship. And this all starts in 2019, which coincidentally kind of starts getting you toward when they started talking about, when they started announcing that they were going to have a lot more NECA products in Loot Crate. NECA had Loot Crates before, but now it was like a ton of NECA material was coming forward, and that was definitely a connection. Well, in February of this year, the former owners of Loot Crate sued the Loot Company, Joel Weinshenker's company, for about $3.5 million for the Loot Company not paying back taxes that they owe from the deal where they acquired Loot Crate. And now this was filed in bankruptcy court in Delaware. We don't have access to their answer to this complaint. So everything I'm about to say is what the former owners of Loot Crate are alleging in their lawsuit, right? And for people that don't know necessarily how this works, to start, when you sue someone or you start anything, you file a complaint. And the complaint is you laying out your whole thing. You make your whole argument. Like, it's 100% one-sided. Right, the information is not thinking of both parties. You are saying I have been wronged, and I'm going to paint my picture of how I was so devastatingly wronged. And then the defendant in the case has a chance to, and actually has to file an answer. And the answer is they get to respond in court and say, no, that's not totally right. So everything I'm about to report is from the complaint filed by the former owners of Loot Crate. Okay, so this is all allegedly kind of stuff. But the lawsuit alleges that the Loot Company is, quote, terminating the employment of various of its employees and advising them that the purchaser, which is the Loot Company, is, quote, dissolving, and appears to be making preparations to fraudulently shift Loot Crate assets into other businesses to prevent the original owners from gaining relief through litigation. So they're saying that to avoid the tax debt that they have, now owning Loot Crate, they are laying off employees and they're telling them on the way out that the Loot Company is dissolving. And the lawsuit further alleges that they're doing this to basically take the assets, hollow out the Loot Company, and avoid a bunch of taxes and avoid any kind of relief for the previous owners. And the last bit of that is that the complaint also alleges that Weinshenker acknowledged that the Loot Company has not been making payments to tax authorities since August of 21 and has no intention of curing the breach in payments. Which, that's the biggest allegedly of it. They say that Weinshenker literally told them that, or that they know that Weinshenker knows that they're not paying taxes and they don't plan to. But this whole thing came up because they owed so much in taxes. The $58 million in debt is a reason to file bankruptcy alone. But the $6 million in like sales tax that they owe to various states, by the way, like all these states, like that's a combined amount they owe to like Texas and like I think they owe all 50 states taxes. It's actually kind of crazy. Yeah. So part of the deal in bankruptcy court was a decision the judge allowed them to sell off the company to Weinshenker. But part of the deal was that Weinshenker and this new Loot Company would agree to finding ways to pay back all the taxes they owe, right? Because that follows that company over, right? It doesn't just get wiped away from bankruptcy. They owe at least the tax money. So yeah, this obviously casts a gigantic shadow, not only on the delivery of the promised Loot Crates at this point, but over Loot Crate as a whole. And like I said earlier, without having access to the Loot Company's answer, this is all one-sided. This is literally what the injured parties are claiming. And Loot Crate doesn't really have a voice right now because they're not talking. And it's very normal, you know what I mean, for people to not discuss an ongoing legal matter. Not to answer people from Toy News Eye. Like, can you tell me all about your problems? That's not typically a thing that they want to do. But yeah, we'll keep you guys updated on it. It is ongoing, but it makes a lot more sense when you say, wait a minute, how could the COVID delay cause, oh, wait. Like, if
there's more.
What the lawsuit alleges is true, they are basically hollowing out Loot Crate from the inside. And the problem is a lot of people on the internet have kind of been like asking like Loot Crate and Neca about this, acting like they're the same company. And it was a little frustrating to read because I did a lot of other research on like people like hitting them up on Twitter and IG and stuff. And they keep asking the question the wrong way. So both sides go, look, Neca didn't buy Loot Crate.
Yeah.
Sorry. But it's like, no, it's obvious that they didn't buy Loot Crate. They just have one guy in common who's orchestrating both companies to collaborate, right? But like I said, we'll keep everybody updated on it. It's a who knows situation. But I had a question for you, Eric. So given like just the time you've spent in the saddle with like the action figure industry and the community and all this stuff, you know, day and date, early days, you know what I'm saying? Like, like your boy was the original Deadpool fan. You know what I'm saying? On those message boards, nobody knew who Deadpool was, and your boy did it. And then everybody got on Deadpool, and like, but your boy was on the Foosh like
that's true.
Back like in like the caveman days.
I was.
You know what I mean? Like while I was picking my nose, you know, he knew all about Deadpool. So
I did.
How long you've been following this? Like, how does this hit you? Like this news, like everything about the money, the accusations of hollowing out Loot Crate, all this stuff, and maybe the potential for action figures not to reach people.
Yeah.
Where do you sit on this?
Well, I think it's from an action figure perspective, I'm okay about it because these are already made. These are already done. If I'm not mistaken, from what I can tell, at least everyone up through, I think Armagon and the Shredder have been seen. And I know that some companies or some sites had gotten Donatello as well for promo shots at least, but they've been made, so it's a matter of just getting them. And so NECA has been doing like an amazing job in the last couple years rectifying all the problems that the Turtles line had when it started out with like the scalpers and everything. So my fears of not getting these figures are it's very low. I feel like NECA's going to do right by everybody because they've done right so far. And so there's that. Now, you brought this up a couple weeks ago, or maybe even last week, asking about it. And I didn't really concern myself too much because part of the game, especially when you're pre-ordering, is obviously waiting. And then sometimes certain sites take forever. And so you just kind of chalk it up to that, plus with all the pandemic stuff going on. But then I saw the article today on Toy News Eye and sent it to you, and I was like, oh, maybe there is something here. And then finding out all about the bankruptcy stuff, that's a little scary, just because you don't know. Well, bankruptcy is a scary word anyway, but that's I feel like NECA is definitely still going to do right by everyone, so I believe that we will get these figures. I've already got the first one, but and ironically that was the one I wanted the least, but but the thing I remember, but see, it all kind of, when you contextualize it with the money and all these problems, it kind of makes their whole gimmick about like, hey, remember the first series? They sell really well on eBay, so you might want to go ahead and do this now and buy it all up. And it kind of makes that ring a little strange. Like, I get it from a business perspective, like that is a selling point. I can understand that. However, just given this context, it kind of makes it's a weird taste in your mouth. But yeah, I don't know.
I think the most disturbing part of it to me is that my mind keeps kind of turning over and over again. You know, that I kind of keep not being able to like kind of run from when I think about it. Is that, and once again, this is all alleged stuff, and I do not mean to, you know, maybe cast anything on Joel Weinshaker or any of his like business dealings or whatever. This is not intended to be slanderous. It's just a question, or it's a thing that keeps going through my head.
Right.
Of, if what the lawsuit alleges is true, then you cannot separate what Loot Crate is doing and what NECA is doing, because while they're different businesses, they have the same principal owner. So you start saying like, well, I can't just say, hey, look, NECA's going to make it right, y'all, but like Loot Crate, man, they screwed us. Because it's the same, it's two hands on two different puppets, but it's connected to the same bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be mad at the one puppet and say he's shit, and then look at the other puppet and go, I love that guy. Like,
Right.
that doesn't work. It makes me. So I think the disturbing part about what I'm reading and in my deeper research, what I saw was that there's a potential for something kind of like rotten at the core, maybe of what's going on, and that. And like I said, there's two sides to every story, but like if you're just going off of what the lawsuit is saying, it starts to feel like, does this starts to shake? Not that Neca, and I know that Neca is more than just one man, right, and more than just an owner. There's more people there that make it right, and there's people there that don't have that have proven to have great motivation and are fair players in all of this, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But when it goes up to the top, you do start to get concerned. If they can do this to Loot Crate, what could Neca do?
Yeah.
Because if it's the same person that has influence over each of them, and there's also ramifications technically for what could happen if a Wineshaker is found guilty of these charges.
Yeah.
Tax evasion is a massive problem.
Yeah.
Bankruptcy court doesn't play. I worked as a bankruptcy legal assistant for 2 years, and the things I saw that happen when you're in bankruptcy is like all your life belong to us. Like when you're in bankruptcy, they completely run your whole life while you're in it, and didn't really dealt in personal bankruptcy, not in like corporate situations, but there's a chance that like these are big allegations that Wineshaker has to answer to.
Yeah.
And I start to wonder what ramifications this could have for Neca if what is alleged about Loot Crate is true. That's my biggest point. It's just like, what does this say about what's at the core of each company?
Right. And that's where it gets
what's
tricky.
going to happen.
Yeah, because with businesses, it's like it's one of those things where there's probably things that they can do that can get out. There's all these things that we don't know because we're just lay people. We don't really know a lot about the business side of things and how you can maneuver through these kind of things. But that's what lawyers are for. And so I'm trying to be optimistic about it and hope for the best, given that the track record. All I really care. I hate that bad things are happening to people, and I don't condone people doing illegal stuff. However, at the end of the day, I want an Armagon on my shelf. You know what I'm saying? I want a Dark Turtle. I want a Scrag.
That's kind of where I'm at, right?
And so, that's what I want. And so if NECA can bring that to me, then all will be forgiven in my eyes. But, that's...
Man, I'll be honest. If Loot Crate cannot operate as a business anymore, if they went into debt, and then if you buy it and you look at it and go, man, I just don't think it can. Like it doesn't work. I can't make it work. Then Loot Crate shouldn't exist, right? It's not proven itself to be a company that can keep its head above water, that can operate in the black. It just can't, right?
Yeah.
That's the way that kind of like the evolution and natural selection of capitalism works. If you keep being a bankruptcy risk and you just can't run a business,
right?
I understand the dissolving of potentially of Loot Crate. The weird thing is that they just keep taking orders and they just keep. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is no like, well, hold on a minute, everybody. Let's see if this is going to work out. It's like, no, we'll still take your money. You know, and you have a lot of TMNT figure collectors and a lot of just TMNT fans that have ordered these that are feel like they're getting done kind of wrong. And all of a sudden it becomes later, and it feels like they have never publicly, that I've found, acknowledged that there's a problem, going on legally. That they're like, well, COVID, haha. You're like, that's that starts to get shady. I don't necessarily like that, right?
It does. And I think that we're basically touching on like what the fandom is kind of getting to. We're reaching that point where it's like, we need an answer, and I think they've kind of let it run as long as they can. They'll probably be watching this, and they're gonna start feeling the heat. You know what I mean? From our investigative reporting.
I feel like they'll probably play this in court.
Yeah, probably. We might be subpoenaed. Hopefully not. But we got to do our due diligence for the fans. But real quick before we have to go back to our regularly scheduled podcast, what would be one thing? All the legal stuff and all the all that stuff aside, what just personally what would it take for them to like redeem themselves? Like could physically, like could they hand deliver them to your door? Could they just would you rather just have all the money back, or would you rather have like a bigger Armagon figure? What's something?
No,
that
I
could
think
do
I think people. I think maybe I speak for a lot of people. I know, I can speak for myself and say I just want what I paid for, and furthermore, I just want transparency. See, for me, I just want the box. I want the one box. If it comes in April or May, then I go, thank you very much. I probably don't ever order a Loot Crate again, to be honest, until somehow this bankruptcy stuff is adjudicated and I know that the company is on solid ground. But I think some people are looking for more. I think they want an apology. I think that that acting Neca and Loot Crate acting like they're two businesses that have zero interaction, like almost like, well, hey, Neca's like, we sold them toys. I don't know what to tell you. And then Loot Crate's like, I mean, they COVID. Hello.
Yeah.
That's disingenuous. And I think that one thing I would like, or when I put myself in the eye of someone who's really a big Loot Crate fan, I think that I want transparency.
Yeah.
I think Neca should have to answer somewhat for this, or Joel Weinschenker himself should have to answer for this.
Yeah.
I think that if you're out here making these moves and you're being like, you're buying up Loot Crate and you're being like, oh, what a happy family. Now we're going to tie everything in. If you've got machinations like that, if you're reaching for the stars like that, but you fall and get wrecked, like, I would like transparency. I would like him to say, like, Loot Crate is not a functional business. I'm in the middle of dissolving it because it's not great. You're going to get what you need, but like, look, sorry, we tried to make it work, but it didn't. But just for both companies to act like we're independent businesses, not like we're owned by the same person, like that. I don't like that, and I think that that's what I want. I want my Armagon. You know what I'm saying? I want Armagon.
Oh yeah,
I want him to hang out next to my Jess Harley. That's what I want off the bat. And then I just want transparency around the issue. Like I just want them to just acknowledge that they're owned principally by the same person. Yeah, and that someone can answer for both sides of this. And it needs to be Weinschenker. It needs to be him. The fact what kind of gets me irritated is the fact that PR people and salespeople for both sides are getting lambasted with questions. And as an owner, you just let those people hang like that. Yeah. And get hit up on social media all day. And they have to keep doing the party line because you won't come out and talk about what's going on. See, I just don't like that. So that's what I would want out of it. Yeah.
I think that all would be forgiven from me if I could get like not too small, but like kind of medium-sized cake pans of like Jess Harley and Armagon and some of the ancillary characters that I can bake little cakes with. And I don't know, that's just me. I just feel like that's an area.
Are we talking like easy bake oven size, or are we talking like I can put it in my oven size?
Oven size.
Like, what are we talking about? Little
oven size. Okay, but like almost as if it's like a 6 to 7 inch. Like it could be a figure, and you could put it on your shelf if it's got the right consistency.
Make a little cake.
But yeah, it's just a little cake, and then you could be like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a bite out of crunch," and then you bite its head off and stuff like that, and then it's oh snap, and there's jelly filled inside.
Oh yeah,
and
true.
Then, there's a lot of options.
Okay.
That's something that I think that they could do, and that could be the thing that brings them out of this bankruptcy thing is the cake business. So who knows? But everyone, let us know what you think about all this. Do you have any insight?
Yes.
To what's going on? Definitely let us know if you have any thoughts. What would it take for you to consider all forgiven and washed away? Let us know. turtlesoupshow@gmail.com and leave a comment below also. And we'll keep you posted definitely as this story develops. But we're hoping that as long as we can get that Armagon, I think we'll be all right. But as much as we want them all, Armagon's the main.
I mean, also the people that like you and everybody else that ordered Crate 3 and 4.
Oh, that's true.
Let's get it.
I want them all.
Crate 4 is the scary one. They haven't even talked about Crate 4. They had a tweet, talked about Crate 2 and 3. Oh, hey, look, sorry, guys. We got that Crate 2 and 3. Online, Crate 2 and 3 are listed for shipping. Crate 4 is like, that just disappeared.
Yeah.
Like no one talks about it. Yeah. And like, if I was like in your shoes, sorry, I keep going on. If I was in your shoes and I was on the hook for all 4, I got a lot more to worry about than Armagon. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, I got some people I'm missing.
That's true. So,
but let us know how you feel about it in the comments below, and just make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon, like everything. You know what I'm saying? Come check us out in Turtle Soup. We're live every Thursday, 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying, for the main podcast.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yep. Well, awesome. Definitely. And we'll catch you on the Prime side.